Hello, it's Dominique. So I'm back. Sorry it took a couple of days before I had time to come back to this project. So now I'm back. So I was telling you last time to cover these. This is what I usually do when I have an album, just a regular album with pages in it. But here what I could do is I could just cut a piece of paper that's just a little narrower than the height here of my paper, of my binder. And you can just cut a piece there and then go all the way there. And we're just going to fold in there. So you don't need to cover with white. So I'm going to go straight with the pattern paper right there. You could do either that. If you have put already those pieces there, you mat them and then you put another piece here that you mat. So you mat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this one here and just glue it here. But here I measured from the edge here to here. I have a little problem, is that my paper here, which is 12 inches, is just finishing here where I have the fold. I don't want that, okay? It's not supposed to be that way. You need to have to finish it just a little bit before. So maybe here. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. So I'm just going to cut it here. Then I have another piece, same width that I've cut already. This piece here, same width, okay? So I'm going to go from there to there, okay? So what I'm going to do is, so as I told you, if you have put your lace, whatever, and you need to have a second one to kind of hide maybe the edge of your lace or whatever, if you need to put 2 pieces of trims, make sure you have put those 2 before you get to this stage, okay? So here, if you're going to put your magnets like I should have done, just here underneath, you need to put those right here, or this one here, or 2 here, before you start matting this, okay? And where to put them, so if you have put the first magnets that were underneath, or the one that was underneath the paper here, so you put the other magnet on top, and you have to make sure that your binder is square here. So you can measure here, and then measure here to make sure you have the same thing. Or you can just look and see if it's good. So you have to be certain that it's nice and square, 4 90-degree angles. So once you know that, then what you're going to do is you're going to undo this, like remove this little backing of the magnet. And once you know exactly where you're supposed to go, then you're going to align the edges here and just press. And then you're going to have your magnets installed on the flap, okay? And as I told you, the flap should be bigger. So I put a note on the 3A so that you know that this has to be bigger. Here I was trying to avoid hiding too much of my unicorn, and I ended up not having the flap big enough. But I'll show you what I'm going to do for that. So once you have your magnets installed here, just make sure that you look at it, it's all nice and square, okay? That's very important. Once that's all good, then you can mat the inside. So I'm going to mat the inside. And here I have fabric, I have lace, I have paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the paper here. And then I'm going to go all the way down here. The paper glue, I mean. Sorry, sometimes I don't have the right word. It's been a while since I did a long tutorial in English, and I'm kind of not used to it. Been doing French videos lately. It's easier for me because it's my first language. So going back to English is not easy. Okay, next I'm going to use the fabric tack. And you have to not wait too long, okay? Because you don't want this glue to dry too fast. So then I'm going to go here. I wish this glue would come out. Come on, come out. Okay, make sure you have some on the corners, and then you do this side as well. Right on the edge. There you go. Make sure you have enough, because then it's hard to go put some back after you've finished. Okay, so I start here. And make sure it's really flat when you do that, so that when you open it, it can open all the way. Because if it's not flat, when you want to open the whole thing flat, it's not going to open. So flat like this. Make sure you have your borders of about a 1/16 of an inch, nice and even. Then we go like this. And you have to let that dry before you fold it. Just before, like I said before at 3B, let it dry at least 5 minutes before you fold it. So now I have this other piece here, so I'm going to calculate so that it overlaps a little bit, maybe 1/2 inch or so, and then I'm going to cut right here. I'm going to do the same thing. So here I have some paper. I'm not putting my magnets here because as I was telling you, I'm using a little card format because I don't want to hide my my unicorn, so that's why I'm not putting the magnet right now. I'm going to put it on behind my little card. I'll show you later. So a lot of glue here, and then the fabric glue on the edge, so where I have the fabric and the trim. Just go like this, and here we're going to do an interaction. You can do whatever. I'm going to do like pockets, you know, make sure it's nice and even on the edges here, and if you want to, you can always trim a little bit, like do a little tapering on the bottom one because it's not exactly the same. There, it's perfect. Just press now that I know it's where it should be, just press. Okay, so while we wait until it dries, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with my little card, just in case it happens to you as well, that you have a part of your, on the front of your file box that you don't want to hide with the overlapping flap. Another thing we could have done is we could have left it a little higher here, so we have more room overlapping with the flap. But anyways, that's the way it's done now. So what I did is I grabbed a little piece of chipboard that's really thin. It's the backing of my paper pad. As you can see, I grabbed a little piece of this. It was perfect. I just need this much. I don't want to do the big chipboard because then it's going to be uneven with the other side. So as thin as you can, and I just covered it like I did with my whole binder, and I'm leaving this part here for putting the magnet. So this is the part that's finished, so I'm going to put my little paper that the pattern paper. I decided I would use this one because it's got some green. I think it's cute on this one. So I'm going to mat that. So I need to mat that before I glue it on because it's going to be overlapping on the front, on the top of this little card. So I need to have it finished on the top. But the back, it doesn't matter because we're going to, there's my bone folder, we're going to put the magnet, then mat it, and it's going to be accessible to mat it when I go from behind. Like this. Now I cannot do that, I cannot put it now because I need to know exactly where I want to have it. So we're going to wait a little bit more. So what you do after, so you just try and feel where the fold is. So you just go like this. You fold a little bit, you see that it's right there. So you're going to fold with your bone folder like this, and then on the other side as well. Oh, there's one here too. You see there are two because our gap is pretty big, so you have two lines to score in the fold. And if you see that you need more glue, you just put some more. And you just go with a little piece of cardstock, you put glue on it, and then you just go squish it underneath and then make sure that it's nice and folded. And I do the same right here. As you can see, there's one here, so I'm going to go with my bone folder like this. And then I'm going to do the other side because we have two sides. So this is it. This is it. As you can see, it's working. Now this one here, it's right here. I have one fold here, and then another one on the edge right here, right next to it. It's important that you do both of them so that it's nice and square. Otherwise it's going to be bubbly, and you don't want that. And when I put my paper here, I was supposed to put a line of glue on each side of the chipboard next to the gaps so that it would glue perfectly. But it worked, but usually that's what I do. So I recommend that you do that. So before when you put your paper, when you put the glue on the paper, make sure you put some glue on each side of the chipboard. And I have another one right here. And another one here, right next to it. There. So I have all 5 pieces, as you can see. We have our box. So what I'm going to do now, I need to know where I'm putting my magnet. So I need to have this glued underneath right here. So I'm going to put it right here. I have to wait more. So here I have to make sure that I'm overlapping exactly to have it square, which is the case right now. So I'm just going to go straight like this, nice and square. This square as well, and just press. I have my magnet right there. I'm going to let that dry quite a bit, and then I'm going to mat this with paper, whatever, maybe this one. I'm going to do that while it sets. So I have this side here, here, and here. To mat the back. So you know now why I have to mat the front, so that I could glue it on, then I can mat the back. And I couldn't mat the back until I put the magnet, so you have to do it in that order. So I'm going to let that set. My eraser. Marks here and here somewhere. And this is it. So now I have my file box. I'm going to put flowers and things like that. So it's going to go like overlapping this and all that. Now it's coming off. So I have to really let it set if I do anything. Okay, now you need to cover the front of your use this. You need to cover the front of your file. So you just measure how thick, how high you want to have it, how wide. So I'm going all the way to the edge because I don't want to see any of the brown craft paper. So I'm going to do this right here, and I'm going to maybe put a couple of pockets or something there. So I can do that after. If you want to do it before, it's perfect. So here you need to do the, so I recommend that you go on the back here. So you see where your half circle is exactly. And you just cut it, you just trace it, and then you're going to cut it after. It's many stages, as you can see. It's not easy, quick project. There's a lot of stages. So this is going to be here. You can add a pocket or whatever, a little card tuck spot, whatever. So I'm going to glue that right now. So here you glue all the way to the edges. You don't want the expansion of the envelopes of the file. You just want to mat it. This this is front. Okay, so you make sure this is the front. And you just make sure it's nice and flush with the edges. Got excess glue, you have to remove it. The same way we did with when we were putting the envelopes together, because if it smears a little bit, it's going to glue everything together. So make sure you have everything clean.